Lazy dogs. More lazy dogs. All the lazy dogs. Hello, people of the future. This is Paul. So yeah, I'm filming this a couple weeks before I'm going to post it because I'm planning on posting this right before I leave for Pulp Fest. So I wanted to make sure I got something up. So yeah, hopefully I'm still alive and hopefully this all works out and hopefully I'm going to be able to make it to Pulp Fest and nothing else goes wrong. Nothing else is going to go wrong, right? Yeah, that's hope. All right, anyway, so about a week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half, depending on how this works out, I posted a video showing off my Clifford DC Mac collection, which I actually just shot a few minutes ago. See, time travel is funny. That I talked about how Simak and Cooper were two of the people that started, Edmund Cooper, were two of the people that started me collecting vintage sci-fi actively, going out and looking for it, searching for it, and starting the collection. So in that video, I showed you my Simak collection, and hopefully that worked out okay. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Right? Okay. This time I'm going to show you what I have from Edmund Cooper and talk real quick about Edmund Cooper and then show you the books. In case you don't know who he is, he's a science fiction author, speculative fiction. He wrote some other stuff, poetry and technical stuff under a few different names. I'm never going to remember. I have pretty much his entire collection of standard novels except for like 5. He didn't put out that many, but I'm missing like 5. And I don't have a lot of his short story collections. But he also put out a bunch of stuff under other pen names. Some of it I have, some of it I don't. Cooper was born in April of 1926 and died in March of 1982. He was born in Marple, Cheshire, in England. And he actually dropped out of high school at 15. And at 16, he married a much older woman who happened to be his teacher. Dog. And he spent some time in the Merchant Navy. And he himself trained as a teacher. He had a short story, Brainchild, that was adapted into a movie called Invisible Boy, which was notable for the fact that it was the return of Robbie the Robot in that movie. Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet. And he was a science fiction reviewer from 1967 until he died in 1982. Cooper considered himself an atheist and an individualist. His stories and his books tended to be very progressive. Cooper was pretty progressive when it came to women's rights and racial issues as well. One of Avery's popular books, Transit, had a character named Richard Avery, which he actually took as a pen name to use in a series of books called The Expendables. He also wrote under the pen names George Kinley, Roderick Quain, and Martin Lester. He wrote 1 book each under those pen names, and 4 under Richard Avery. So as I said, I have most of his books. I don't have much of his short story collections, but I am missing from his novels 5 books, which would include, I'm going to look it up, 1957's The Invisible Boy, which was some kind of chapter book that's really hard to find. I don't even know if it's available. 1960, Wish Goes to Slumberland, An Adventure in Plasticine. 1972, Who Needs Men, later renamed as Gender Genocide. 1974, Prisoner of Fire. And 1978's Merry Christmas, Miss Minerva. Those are the other ones I'm missing from his collection of regular novels under the name Edmund Cooper. I do have The Expendables, but I am missing the other books under his pen names. George Kinley in 1954 is Ferry Rocket, 1954 Broderick Quain, They Shall Not Die, and 1954 The Black Phoenix as Martin Lester. So anyway, I have been collecting Cooper, and I thought I'd show you what I had, and let's go take a look. Okay, let's look at some books. I only have a couple that actually list the artist, but I'll start with those. So we have The Cloud Walker. The art's by John Berkey. It's a nice wraparound cover too. But apparently this is like the third age of men. It's science fiction. It's in the future, but technology's gone backwards. Cover looks great though. And then the aforementioned Transit with cover art by Dean Ellis. "79 light years from Earth. This is home. This is the garden. This is the world where you will live and grow and understand. This is where you will discover enough, but not too much. And this is where life is. It is yours." Richard Avery, which he took as his pen name. Then we have I have some of the coronet versions, so the English versions of these, which is very cool. This is All Fool's Day, which gets all kinds of attention because of the cover. Which also kind of a wraparound. In 1971, a marvelous spell of weather, idyllic in its warmth, but new sunspots had appeared, and with their appearance came a significant increase in the suicide rate. The wonderful summer continued for a decade. Simultaneously, radiant suicide reached epidemic proportions, the only people to escape its effects being the supposed transnormals, the obsessionals, the eccentrics, and the psychopaths. There were to be only remnants of the ancient Homo sapiens. That's one of the coronet ones. British ones. So is this Seahorse in the Sky. Which I don't think is actually about seahorses. At first he thought it was a part of some crazy nightmare, but it wasn't. Russell Graham, MP, was only one of a handful of passengers flying from Stockholm to London. One moment flying peacefully in the sky, the next lying in an unearthly green coffin. Graham was the first to emerge from his strange resting place, but for him, as well as for the others, it had been only the first ecliptical experience. Soon all were to find themselves lost in a bizarre world of medieval knights, Stone Age warriors, and gremlins, caught unalterably in the weirdest cocoon of time. So, Seahorses in the Sky. Then we have another coronet, Uncertain Midnight. Again with undressed lady. Don't look. If you're under 18, do not look at the undressed ladies. I got these kind of wraparound covers of the coronets. It's very nice. They call them the Survivor, a 20th century man born in 2113. It's 5 to 12. This one's kind of stained pretty badly. It's in the worst shape of all of them, I think. Provocative sci-fi novel tells of a revolt of a lone, implacable male against the woman-dominated society of 2071. Dion Curran's sensitive, independent, and intellectually affluent is an anachronism in a world consisting of 5 enslaved men for every 12 superwomen. Interesting. So we have The Last Continent. Focus. The invaders came to conquer or destroy man's final refuge on Earth. A little beat up too. it was forbidden to enter the tower. So I'm sure that's the first thing they tried to do. That's what I'd do. We have Kronk. First time in paperback. They don't know what's going on in that cover. Anyway. Gotta love the name, right? How to Save the World Through Sex and Sin. Oh, I might have to get onto this quicker. It seemed that Gabriel Chrome and his elegantly hippie girlfriend had the answer. A new, highly communicable disease with the property of inhibiting aggression. And oh boy, was it fun to communicate. But Gabriel had reckoned without the finely honed irony of whatever prankster it is who governs human affairs. First time in paperback, The 10th Planet. A Berkeley science fiction novel of death and resurrection 5,000 years in the future. Minerva, the 10th Planet. Looks like it's after a nuclear holocaust. Here's one of his short story collections. Looks like News from Elsewhere. I think it's the only short story collection I have by him. So let's take a look at what stories are in it. There you go. Seed of Light. 10 humans escaped in a colony ship. That's a very 70s cover. The Solarian was 100 meters high and at its broadest point 20 meters in diameter. It was designed to carry an initial crew of 10 people, 5 men and 5 women, with provisions for children. For the ship was a self-contained world required to support human life independently for centuries. This is a story of those men and women, and of incredible generations who followed them. You got all that into this little book? Bravo. Alright, we have The Overman Culture. First time in paperback. It's an interesting cover. I wish they had listed who the authors were, or the artists were. I do that every time, don't I? The Overman Culture. Michael is a fragile boy, one of a seemingly small number of children who grew tired when they run, who bleed when they get hurt, and who can't take off their heads. I'm sorry, what? As the fragile children discover each other, probe in the moldering ruins of London, and try to interpret what they find, they come to the conclusion they have been created by some super scientist as guinea pigs for an experiment. And what happens if the guinea pigs turn on their creator, on the Overman of the legend they all know? They may be destroyed, they may be set free, they may escape. And who or what are the others, the dry bones who do not bleed, who can take off their heads? Edmund Cooper has secrets he can hide as well from you as from the fragiles. Okay. And we have A Far Sunset. Again, a nice cover. He has very nice covers. The year 2032 AD. We ain't far from that. The Gloria Mundi, a starship built and manned by the new United States of Europe, touches down on the planet Altair 5. Disaster strikes, leaving only one apparent survivor. Paul Marlowe, whose adventures in the lair of a strange primeval race known as the Bayani, leads him first to their god, the omnipotent and omniscient Oruri, and eventually to an unlimited power that is so great that it must include a built-in death sentence. The forces that have remained static for centuries overcome both the forces of the future and the quest for unlimited knowledge. Then I have the Slaves of Heaven in hardcover. It's a very red book. It's not much to it. There's nothing on the inside. So those are the standard Coopers I have. And then I have his Richard Avery series. The Expendables. Book 1, The Deathworms of Kratos. More great covers. Book 2, The Rings of Tantalus. Book 3, The War Games of Zelos. And Book 4, The Venom of Argos. I think somebody stole the concept, right? They were called Expendables, a team of criminals and misfits, the chosen ones selected to explore new planets for human colonization. That's been done since lots of times. Anyway, sounds interesting. I've been actually wanting to get to these for a while. Hopefully I can soon. So that was my Edmund Cooper collection. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found something interesting. Please subscribe, and remember, the secret to Zen: read books, pet dogs, listen to metal. Please come back, and I'll see you next time.